Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua Ba'Hashem HaRachakodash. Say double honors to our apostles and elders. Her great millstone, peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So at camp, the brother Garba Ayala, when he was speaking, he centered the topic around the basics, how we got in our captivity in America, how we went into slavery, being accountable, and the solution. Because we, like we've been saying, we actually have solutions to the world's problems, and we can actually give you answers according to the scriptures for everything that's happening in the world and to us, and to answer the questions that our people ask ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Basically, like, what was the point of slavery? Why can't we work together? Why can't we amount to something? Why can't we free ourselves? Because our people try many things to loose ourselves from the clutches of the devil and being in captivity. And we covered a lot of topics, man. We talked about how Black Wall Street. We talked about how even if you was to try to come up with some groundbreaking invention that really benefits or that can really help the people, you might get deleted. The system won't push it. Exactly. Because the people that's in charge, Esau Edom, he only wants control over the people. And all he cares about is being covetous. All he cares about is profit. He does not care about healing. He does not care about people being free. Like in this world, everybody is striving for financial freedom. But all you do is study the money system and you realize everything is designed to keep you in debt. And you just forever on the hamster wheel trying to get out, but you're not supposed to in the eyes of society. Only a few are able to reap the benefits of being rich. Everybody else is supposed to just be poor. That's why it's designed that way. In fact, they're working on a bill. They said by 2030, they actually suggested about 2030, people who make 30K a year, basically minimum wages, will get more taxed the most while the rich get taxed the least. They're trying to solidify the gap between the super elite rich and everybody else is just slaves, just the poor. You look at how the society is ran and everybody's seeing how it's ran, and what do they always say? Follow the money. The origins of all of it is money. There is no profit in no crime. A crime society. There's no profit in that. There's no profit in healthy food and people being healthy. No, there's no profit in that. But there is profit in GMOs, and there is profit in people being sick. So that's why they're not going to investigate what kind of meat is being used at McDonald's, because it's sure as hell not beef. You know how many cows will have to be slaughtered per day to supply you with meat at a fast food restaurant? And on top of it, when you go to the store, you see a thing of ground beef is $10 to $20, but you can go there and get it for $1. You're not eating meat, and they're not going to. The reason they're not going to investigate is because it keeps the cycle of the world, this corporation, America, going. People get sick, so big pharma gets paid, the doctors get paid, everybody gets paid. And what I wanted to highlight is, even in society, you're not allowed to push really a healthy regime. You're not allowed to talk about really healing. That word is pretty much taboo in the quote unquote world of medicine, as well as the word CURE. You're not allowed. There's a doctor, her name is Dr. Jennifer Daniels. She's a so-called Black woman. She has a podcast. One of the titles is "Your Doctor is Trying to Delete You," delete as in KILL. And she was in the hospital. She explains that they have a protocol to follow, and that they all are really just slaves to the insurance companies and drug manufacturers. And if they were to deviate from the protocol, they are all at risk of losing their license, etc. And even if they see that they're going to recommend something that's proven to not work, if they deviate from that, they are at risk of losing everything. So she's pointing out that you don't really have that freedom that you think you have, and that's what a lot of our people figure out. They go out in this world because our people naturally are gifted. We want to do good. We want to try to bring about good. But just like we was bringing out at camp, you're under the curses, and part of the curses is that you have to behold wickedness. You have to behold evil. We, being the children of the light, see what's right. We have the solutions. We want to bring about the solutions, but we're powerless. That's one of the curses that the Lord brought upon us for sinning against him. He said, now you got to watch the wicked, behold the wicked, and watch the wicked run the earth, evil and violence, and how he prioritizes profit and sick and death over life. You have to sit there and watch and behold all of that. So what our people do is say, no, I'm going to get out in this world. I'm going to make that change. I'm going to make that difference. But so they get knee deep in the system, only to realize once they finally get to that point that you do not have the freedom you thought you have. You see from the inside that the motivation is money. And everything is all about keeping the cycle going. It's not to deviate from it. So fast food, people getting unhealthy, sick, tobacco, all of that. Like I just finished watching a old movie with Al Pacino. It's called The Insider. It's kind of a lengthy movie, older movie, but the whole point of the movie is what? You had somebody who worked at a tobacco company. He got fired. And then the whole thing is about him fighting the lawyers and the big drug companies for his testimony to keep it all silent. Because his goal was to bring out how they were knowingly selling addictive product that was going to lead to health, and the manufacturer, their company, the drug company is terrorizing them, and they're basically saying, no, we don't know what you're talking about. So they make moves about this because this is the truth of the matter. Money is the motivation, right? So what I want to show or just highlight things we already know regarding being healed and how in the society is really not allowed. This video is titled Charlotte Gerson Interview Tape. I'm just going to let it play.
Okay? So what are we going to do with people like that? Are these doctors? Are they scientists? We get other things too. I had a lady who came back to the hospital and she wanted to pick up some of the enzymes and minerals that she was taking. And she says, hello, Charlotte. And I must admit that we've had several thousand patients and I do not remember everybody. So she said, you don't remember me. I was at the hospital 3.5 years ago. I had breast cancer and liver metastases. That in itself is an interesting statement. Once there's cancer in the liver, with orthodox treatment, you have 3 to 6 months to live, period. That's it, and there is no recovery from cancer in the liver, okay? So 3.5 years, she tells me, she had cancer in the liver. I said, well, I'm very happy and I'm glad you're doing well. What did your doctor say? Now, when a doctor sees something unusual like that, if he were a true scientist, wouldn't he be interested to say, what did you do? No. What did her doctor say? Well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's doing you good. But don't bother me with it, right? He didn't want to know. Unfortunately, of course, it's not entirely his fault. There are laws. The law in California says any physician who treats cancer with anything but radiation, surgery, or chemotherapy is a felon, goes to jail, loses his license, and pays a $10,000 fine. So he can't do anything with it. Even if he knows. There are laws against healing cancer. The law now says if, for instance, a patient has cancer, has been treated with surgery, radiation, and chemo, and is failing and dying, the doctor is not allowed to try anything else. He must use only those treatments that have already proven to be failures. Which means the state now requires you to die, and that's unconstitutional.
And this is fair use. And I should have stated, the whole point of this lesson is to show, just like we showed at camp, is that this world is not the place for righteousness. It's not. even if we wanted to do good or anything like that, this world is so far gone in wickedness. You're not able to do the right thing, even if you wanted to, because our people have it in us naturally. We want to bring about solutions and we want to get things to be done, but the scriptures tell us we have to let go of this world. 1 John 5:19, and we know that we are of Yahweh, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. This whole world is full of wickedness. Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. You can't undo and overthrow this society, no matter how much you try. No matter how much you try. You're not allowed to use the word CRE. You're not allowed to do that. Because you know the phrase, right? A patient cured is a customer lost. Everybody knows it. Just say what? Follow the money. Everybody knows that. And they will not allow anything to deviate from their profit machine. So is there really a drive to heal sickness? No. Because sick people is profitable. This is 2 Ezra chapter 7, verse 42. The angel speaking, he says, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doeth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of immortality for it to come, wherein corruption is past. So the angel said, this world you currently live in is not the place where much glory doeth abide. No matter how much you want to try to change this world and bring good about it, this isn't the place for it. Because you know what happens? You'll have somebody like Jake. In particular, I'll say Jake, but you can have other nations too. But if we take Jake, every now and then a Jake will ask, okay, if God is real, if there is a power in heaven, then why he letting all this wicked stuff happen? And one of the things they'll say is, well, why is there still diseases and sickness in all this place in the earth if there is a God in heaven? Well, what you don't know is the Heavenly Father created the answer to it. What if we told you the solution does exist to these same diseases and everything you're saying? What if we told you that the Heavenly Father in his great kindness and goodness already created a system on the earth to actually heal these same diseases or whatever and sicknesses that you claim? What if we told you it's just the man that's in power works around the clock to ensure that information does not get out because they don't want that to be a thing, because there's no profit in that? Then what? You see, a lot of our people it's easy to just make those claims, but you don't even realize the Lord, through his love and kindness, he already provided the solutions on the earth. You're just not allowed to. You have to self-research it. This society isn't going to push it. Isn't going to teach it. They're going to say, we still got to figure out. We still researching. And the only way you got to do it our way, which is going to be a very expensive way. But they're not going to tell you, well, if you can run a garden or if you eat these certain foods, they're not going to do that because they can't patent that. So they would rather just say the only solution, you gonna die, before they tell you the answer, man. Because then that's gonna lead to less people getting sick, less profit, less money, more people being healthy. Look at who's in charge, the gates of hell, Bill Gates. He had this video and he actually said that when people are healthy, they tend to have more children, and that is a problem. He went up there on the TED Talk and literally said that birth rates is getting too high. With the help of jabs, we can reduce that number. And everybody clapped. He just told you right there in his face. He told y'all right in the open what his goal and his intent is to do, which is to reduce numbers. You really think they're going to take time to tell you the truth on how you can be healed. But you want to lay the blame at Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. One of the first things they said, why he letting all these diseases and sickness running around? What if we told you the solution is already known and the solution is in the earth? It's just Esau Edom and his wickedness is ensuring that information doesn't get brought out. You know how the society works. Don't try to put the blame on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You don't know. You don't know. Sirach chapter 38, he says, honor the physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which you may have of him, for the Lord have created him. Well, what's the physician? Well, in this world, you get called a doctor. But in the scriptures, it's really a physician. And the word doctor goes into witchcraft. To doctor is like to forge. That's why in the ancient, you're really a physician. But today they'll call you a doctor, which is what you're forging. All right. It says, for the most high, for of the most high cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king. But remember, that word healing is taboo in the world of medicine. Not allowed to use that word, just like you're not allowed to use the word cure. It says, the skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. The Lord is the point. The Lord Yahweh have created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. What if we told you that the first thing somebody says, why does he allow all this sickness, disease, what's all this going around? Well, if we told you that the medicines is in the earth, and there are several people who came across these medicines, and they taught it, and next thing you know, they end up dead. Why? Because this world we live in is full of wickedness and evil. This isn't the place to bring about good. It's not. Just like in 2024, there was a plane crash. It mysteriously crashed. And on that plane were 8 doctors who all basically found the CURE for the CANCER. And in 2014, the same thing happened. But you had, which I'll let him explain, you had over 100 scientists working on and about to bring forth the solution to AIDS. But the damn plane got shot with a missile. And it's a mystery. You mean to tell me that was just, we don't know how that happened?
Flight 2283. Were there any interesting people on this plane? No matter if they are a child or an adult, everybody on board that flight was important. But as we have seen time and time again, when it comes to these major airliner crashes, there happens to be some rather interesting people on board those planes. And this time, it would be no different. Reading from this article from The Independent, it says, 8 cancer doctors among those who lost their lives in Brazil plane crash, as 7 others changed flight at last minute. So yes, there was supposed to be 15 oncology doctors, cancer doctors on board Vopaz Flight 2283. 7 of those backed out last minute and caught an earlier flight. Now, it is not stated as to why these other doctors caught an earlier flight, but luckily they did because it happened to save their lives. This is something that is rather eerily similar to Flight MH17, the Malaysian airliner that was supposedly hit by a missile. When something like this happens, many people like to bring up MH370 because MH370 had over 20 superconductor scientists on board when it went missing. We should also mention MH17 as well, a flight where everybody lost their lives on board back in 2014, but over 100 of those people were top researchers when it came to AIDS. That is something that's often swept under the rug. Reading this article from The Independent, it says, there are fears the cure for AIDS could have been lost with 100 of the best and brightest scientists and researchers on board Malaysia Airlines Flight MH17.
And we know how this world gets down. We know who's in charge, so we know that those things are no accident. Just wanted to highlight that. Just show you this world. There's so much you can go into. It's so deep. There's so many things you can go into. Just to show proof, like the Lord said, this isn't the place for the glory to abide. This place has to be destroyed. No matter how hard you may want to bring about change, it's not going to work. That's what these people did. They come with the same revelations as the people before them, and what Esau Edom does, he takes them out, because they can't have people being not sick. They can't have people coming up with solutions to multi-million dollar schemes, a multi-million-dollar business, because it's not going to just stop there. If Esau Edom tells you the damn things are incurable, then that's just it. That's it. We don't want to hear it. Nothing works. Oh, you came up with the bright idea of how to fix it. You and everybody else, that's fine. Let's just say you ain't gonna make it from the plane, and then it's just swept under the rug. Nobody asking any questions or whatever. We know the deal. So do you see how wicked this place is? You are not allowed, just on the healing aspect, you are not allowed to truly teach or propagate healing and medicines of the earth. So a lot of you people out there are so quick to just say, well, if the Most High was real, he would take care of all these sick people, et cetera, et cetera. You don't even realize he's already planted and literally provided the information on the earth. He already did that. I thought it was a word for it. I may forget it, but there are, the Most High has it to where a lot of foods resemble the organ of the body that it heals. I thought it was a word for it, but you can just look it up. You can just say foods that resemble the organ that it heals. Who do you think the masterminds behind that? That's Yahweh Shem Shai. He already gave us the answers of it. You just relying on your physicians and your doctors to tell you the truth. They're not going to tell you the truth. So you don't really even realize the length of the good gracious of Yahweh Shem Shai. He already gave us the answer. It's because this world is wicked. That's not going to be a thing. This world wants to promote sickness and death, not life, not good health, not at all, not at all. But everybody wants to put it at the feet of the Lord. You don't know. You ain't got no answers, man. John chapter 10, verse 12. That's why they'll say if you come up with some type of discovery, you better keep that to yourself, because you already know you're going to disappear. People will say, oh, somebody needs to protect this man, protect this woman, all that, because they coming up with revelations that's and coming up with problems, as you can say, that will take people away from being dependent on the system. And Esau Edom, all he wants to do is control everyone. So if there's any invention or whatever that comes about that will liberate people from his grasp or his control, he can't allow that. That's why planes crash. That's why people go missing. That's why people die mysteriously. Because he wants complete control over each and everybody. He can't do nothing with people being healed and healthy. People make these videos about how people can't afford their life-saving medications in the insurance company, and they can't afford them. So either people dying or they struggling to make, they can't get their insulin and all that. Well, guess what? That's exactly where he wants people to be, dependent, poor, because then it feeds the system. They're not going to tell you about foods and herbs and all that provide you those things naturally. They're not going to invest in the research and the knowledge of that. No, not at all. But guess what? Yahweh Shem Shai already provided the answer on the earth for that. And it all goes back to nutrition, but you're not going to hear that from them. John chapter 10, verse 12, but he that is an hireling, I want in verse 10. Well, verse 9, Yahushua says, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. So Yahushua is all about life. The devil is all about steal, killing, and destroying, and sickness. So just let it be known that look, our people, you got to realize this isn't the place for us to try to prosper and do good. We may think we had a potential, etc., but the devil is going to ensure that everybody just remains, you could say, dependent on him. And furthermore, Yahweh Shem Yahshua doesn't want us to try to make a society or a building. He doesn't want us to do that here. This place is too evil. It's too wicked to be doing that here. So even if you were to try to get a few steps ahead, get a business going or whatever, you're going to realize, just like what everybody else realized, when you get to that point, you're going to hit a wall in the ceiling. And you're going to realize that the devil's only going to let you get so far. And if need be, he'll sabotage it. And that's why Yahushua says a better plan. Just lean upon him so that this place may be destroyed. Because this place isn't the place for us to really enact out our full potential that we may want to do. Because it's in us. We Israelites, we want there to be right in the done. We want good to be brought forth in the earth. We want to bring out the solutions. But this isn't the place for that, man. So I just wanted to highlight the health part of it, on how the devil, the lengths he will go to ensure that the knowledge of healing will forever stay hidden. That's why you just got to research it yourself. But if you think you're going to go up in his system and teach the truth and it's going to become normal and you're going to find the cure, he gonna tell you ain't the first one we done had to put down. But at the same time, they'll people try to put the blame at the Most High, because they'll say he not doing nothing to solve the issue. Oh, he already provided the answer. It's the devil who seeks to only steal, kill, and destroy. And that's why the solution is that this place has to be destroyed so that the kingdom can be established. With that, shalom.